Good afternoon. Oh, that's very nice. You're very welcoming. Okay, so yes, I have known your professor for a long time. Okay, well, I started young. I started when I was 10. No. Okay, so I've known her since she was doing her master's. I was her trainer, and then she continued to work on her PhD. I was her supervisor. So it was very nice, and I was very lucky of you to have her to work with you. Okay, I'm very happy to be here to meet you because at the moment I'm working in Donghai University, which is a few streets away. Well, probably quite a few streets away. I'm working there as a professor as well, but apart from that, I'm a practicing interpreter myself. My experiences, Angie told you, including conference and some high-level meetings, interpretation mostly. My working languages are Chinese and English. You do that as well, I suppose. Possibly you have good Taiwanese and Cantonese and Taiwan Boy, I don't know. We'll see. So I would like to take this opportunity to share with you my experiences and my strategies in helping student interpreters like yourselves to prepare for meetings. Okay? And I know you have a big meeting coming. Is that quite scary? Really? Is it that scary? So I heard that you got this big meeting coming on budget travel. Yeah? So, are you nervous? Are you nervous? Okay. Why are you nervous? Why are you nervous? You're not sure whether you can do well or not. Understandable. Any other reasons why you can get nervous? No? You're all nervous. Nobody knows why you're nervous. Okay. So you have this nerve problem. You have this nervous problem. What can you do to make yourself less nervous? Want to say something? I'm looking at you. Yes, you know you're looking at me too.
You can take a deep breath.
Me? I'm sure I can do that too, yes. Okay. So, managing your breathing helps you to calm your nerves. Very good. Anything else that can help you deal with your nerves? Yes. Practice. So you're going to practice being nervous.
Practice our interpretive skills to prevent us from too nervous.
Okay, so you need to be familiar with what you're doing so that you wouldn't be defeated by your enemy of nerves. But then what do you prepare? What do you work to practice? What kind of practice are we thinking of? The gentleman in pink shirt? You holding the red pen looking at other people, that's you. What kind of practice do you have in mind?
Note taking, take notes.
Okay.
Memory skill.
Can you practice memory?
Yes. Angie gave us a lot of homework to prepare.
So you need a lot of homework from your teacher.
Yeah.
Okay, what if Angie today is being very kind and say, no more homework, no more homework, go home and get prepared, and come to the class, come to the final meeting. What are you going to do? None of us If you want to answer, jump on. What do you do if Angie is so kind and says, no more classes, no more homework? You have 3 weeks to prepare. What would you do?
Ask me.
Huh?
Find a friend.
Find a friend
Try to practice.
to practice. What do you practice? Note taking, memory. What?
Teacher told us.
But you guys are such good students. Your teacher seems to be holding the ultimate authority over you. I envy you, Angie. Okay, so you are very good students. You follow instructions. But as an interpreter, you don't always have a teacher teaching you what to do. Yeah? So one day I got a meeting. They told me, excuse me, would you come in 2 weeks' time? We have a meeting on travail de spiritual. I was like, huh? It was in French. That was the only information I got. I got the meeting title in French because the meeting was in Brussels. You know what? You know where Brussels is?
In Belgium.
In Belgium, exactly. Why do you think it's in Belgium?
Because it's the capital of Belgium. I knew that before.
You prepared, didn't you?
Yeah.
You did. You prepared mentally when you were little, reading something, remembering Brussels is the capital of Belgium. That's preparation. Okay. Anyway, so I was put to work in Brussels. I was the interpreter for the European Commission on a China-EU meeting on that topic, French. And I asked the organizer, do we have other documents? I said, no. Je ne sais pas. I said, huh? And I say, is this EU-China related? Yes, you, of course. What else do you expect? You're a Chinese interpreter, you work for us. Yeah. So anyway, I got the title of the meeting. I prepared, I guess, alcohol, not alcohol, spiritual, high spiritual work. I started to think about Falun Gong. Yeah, spiritual. I started to think about religious issues, human rights, China. That was the association I could come up with very quickly. And I started to prepare the incidents, the scandal, the attitudes, government statement, NGOs, supporting groups, etc. I think I was ready. So I went to the meeting. It was simultaneous interpreting. I have 2 colleagues. One is like me, Chinese English. The other one is French Chinese. So we 3 as a team, we started chatting. I said, well, do you have other documents? They said, no, just this thing. So we asked the colleague who's got the title. I said, so I think it's Falun Gong, what do you think? And the other colleague of mine, he said, I think it's about alcohol. I said, what do you mean, alcohol? He said, spiritual in French is spirits, it's wine, it's strong liquor, it's 烈酒. High alcohol is 烈酒. So he thinks it's about whiskey, brandy, and I thought it was about Falun Gong. Anyway, our delegation from China didn't arrive until 2 hours later because they had a tour around Scotland, tasting all the beautiful whiskey in Scotland. And they were so drunk, they couldn't get up. And they arrived 2 hours later. They started working on the brandy and whiskey and the chemical components of those alcohol. They are discussing whether China is going to import those liquids, those liquors, those brandy and whiskey to China. And certain chemicals, certain level of certain chemical in the liquor will determine the taxation level when they import the brandy. Are you with me? So what? I feel like a stupid. Well, I feel so useless. I did prepare, but I prepared the wrong thing. And because it's such a high-tech meeting, it involves a lot of chemical terms. Can you imagine the terms that I wouldn't be able to say it in Chinese either? You give me all the Chinese, I wouldn't be able to pronounce it, not to mention in English. And then they were debating and fighting over the taxation level, the quota, the trade tariffs, and barriers. So that was one of the meetings. So I could be prepared, but if you prepare the wrong thing, you are dead. Yeah? So today I would like to arrange my talk about around meeting preparation. I'll be asking you questions and you can answer them, discuss with your friends, and we can think about examples. So, to be an interpreter is all about preparation, yeah? If you prepare, you deliver. If you don't prepare, you drop. You drop, and sometimes you just so dropped. You're so dead. Okay? Do you remember the crazy interpreter in the opening session of Flora Expo a few weeks ago? Remember the lady? Yes. Huh? Do you remember? Somebody? Yes, you remember. What happened to her? Do you think she was prepared? What was she prepared to do? If she's not prepared to be an interpreter, what was she prepared to do? MC? Anything else? She was there to host the event. Okay? I have to stay very calm, because don't get me started. I have a lot to say about this issue. She was the host of the event. And then her biggest mistake, the first mistake she committed, is to invite herself to do a job that she was totally not prepared to do. Do you remember? So she said, "Do you need translation?" I have two things to say about that sentence. First, I hate people playing cute. I hate people strongly for being cute. And that's totally unprofessional and unaccepted. Do you need translation? And secondly, when people have a need, they should say, or as an organizer, you foresee the need for your speaker. You don't offer any random service on the spot. It sounds like, would you like a cup of water? You can offer water easily, but you don't offer translation as easily. When you offer, you deliver. Yeah? Would you like some water? You give water. Would you like some translation? You can't give translation. That's very awkward. And then she was, "Oh no, okay, I'll do it for you, but please speak slow, no difficult words." And how can you openly play stupid like that? That's not on. Number two, yeah? And when she started working, she was so independent, she say whatever she likes to say, which is totally independent from the speaker. Which, again, is not a talk show, yeah? And is a huge disrespect for the speaker. And is a huge embarrassment for the organizer. Okay? And of course, people will say, "Oh, don't worry about that, don't blame her so much on this, because she did this on the side, she didn't charge people for this." And I will blame the organizer. Anything comes free is the most expensive one. Yeah? You've heard this. And when you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. Do you know the expression? When you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. I know, you think monkeys like banana. But peanuts, when you pay peanuts, yeah? What's peanuts? When you pay peanuts, it means you pay people very little. And only monkeys will work for you. So you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. Okay? So I won't go into the details, but you can see when. To be an interpreter, if you're not prepared, you're dead. If you fail to prepare, means you prepare to fail. And there's no rocket science here. It's just happening that it just goes that way. Okay? So about your meeting prep. Your preparation includes you come to class, you remember to do the homework, you remember to grow up, you remember to read your books. Everything is preparation, okay? But if you are preparing for specific meetings, you have actually a very clear target. Yeah? Why do people get together to meet? Why do people need to meet in a meeting? I don't prepare to answer the question myself. Any volunteers? Second? To discuss what? Like what? Let's get together to talk about the weather. Okay, what kind of topics can be useful for meetings? Can be anything, can it? Or it can be anything. Okay. Why do people meet to talk about things?
They need to reach into a consensus.
They want to have some consensus. Okay? So it means they have something that they don't agree with together to begin with. And that something is quite important for all of them. Okay? So people meet for reasons. And that reason is very important for you. Okay? If you don't know the reason, you don't know why you're there. So to prepare for meetings, you need to know your enemies. Enemies doesn't mean that somebody you have to kill or somebody you have to defeat. Is the content, is the task you have to work on. Yeah? So that's your enemies. You need to know your field. Is the meeting, is where the meeting takes place. In what situation, the arrangements. And you need to know yourself. Okay? So what do you need to know about yourself? Okay, you guess very quickly. So you need to know 3 things, yeah? When I say you need to know about yourself, what does that mean? Come on, talk, otherwise you're falling asleep after lunchtime. Yourself? Say it again? Your weakness, okay? What kind of weakness? Okay. So she said maybe she's weak listening or note-taking. Okay, so you need to practice more. Is that time for you to practice your note or your listening? I'll come back to this later, okay? Don't get it confused. Today somebody called me up. We need you for a meeting on, I don't know, on what? On other things. Outer space cleansing program. Outer space cleansing program. Okay? So, 4 words. Yeah? Outer space cleansing program. Which word don't you know? Cleansing? So what's cleansing? What's cleansing? Somebody must have known this word. Cleanse. To cleanse. To cleanse means to make things clear. Okay, it's not a difficult word. So, outer space cleansing program. You know all the words. And you sort of, okay, try to put all these words in Chinese. What would that be? Okay, so what kind of 外太空垃圾 are you thinking of? Okay, satellites. Satellite debris. Very good. Which major are you in?
Soil water conservation.
Say it again?
Soil and water conservation.
Soil and water conservation. Brilliant. Okay. So it's about cleansing the outer space debris. I know all the words. But if you're not in the field, you'll be like, huh? Outer space. Huh? Sweeping. What are we going to do? Are we going to send some cleaners up there and then sweep off the satellites? Okay? And why do we need to clean out all the satellites? What's wrong with that? Why do we need to clear them out? Yes?
There are too many, and it's become dangerous for astronauts to work on do their job. It's dangerous for astronauts.
Do you think all astronauts work on the orbits like pedestrians?
Like
I'm a spaceman. I'm going to have a walk in space. Ooh,
Yeah.
this is a satellite. It's so dangerous. I'm going to trip over. Okay, but good guess. Okay. Any other reasons why people need to clean the orbit? Good guess. Okay. So you have some ideas and you started to explore. You prepare. You are not totally ignorant. You have something always there. But actually, for some subjects, you have a bigger gap. Some subjects, you have smaller gaps. Okay? So the reason why they need to clear the orbits, it's because orbits, in my limited imagination, I thought it's endless. And though you can have infinitive number of orbits, but actually no. They are limited resources. They are like the highway. They are like the road for satellites to travel. If they are full of satellite debris, meaning dead satellites not working anymore, they are occupying space. So for other countries, if they want to shoot their own satellites into the orbit, they have no place to go. Okay, so the mechanism is easy. Then why is this a difficult issue? Why do they need to meet? Okay, how to do it? We need to shoot the spaceman up and do it. Okay, no, they have the skill. They know how to do it. They know how to do it. Because we got rocket science experts. They know how to do it. Not a problem. They still need to meet. Why? Yes?
it's too expensive.
Too expensive. So let's spend more time meeting.
Yeah.
More money meeting, eating more biscuits.
Yeah. They must to have kind of agreement because there's they have different territories. This debris is yours and not mine. They got to.
So they have to decide which trash belongs to who. That's your trash, take it home. That's yours, take it home. Okay? I think it's not such a huge issue. It's not like a 小学生, accusing each other. You make it so dirty. Your job. Your job. Important issue to consider. This is a meeting in IAEA in Vienna, the UN system in Vienna. They're talking about peaceful application of technology in outer space. Why do they need to stress peaceful? when would people start to lose peace?
When they have some dispute over sovereignty or territory.
People, when they fight, there's no peace. And why would people fight? Why would people fight? Properties, that's one thing. Anything else?
Sovereignty.
Sovereignty, anything else? Anything more general? Resources, rights. So a bigger word will be the interest. Interest can be anything. Yeah? The interest can be the property, can be resources, can be a right, can be anything. So when there's a conflict of rights, which can't be resolved by talks, they fight. Okay? It's common sense still. So when you have the orbit is occupied by all the rubbish, can you think of a country which has the most rubbish out there? Of course, must be America. Why? Okay, they started early. How about another country which shoot a lot of things up there? Russia. Why Russia? To compete with America. When did it happen? Brilliant. Because the Cold War, the two countries are competing really hard. So you shoot one, I shoot one, you shoot one, I shoot one. So it's all occupied. And it's early 2000, yeah? It's about 50 years already. They are down to retire. Those satellites are retiring and became rubbish. So they need to be removed. But then, why do they need to be removed? Who wants to use the satellites as well? Okay, you have China, you have Japan. They are actually quite powerful enough, they shoot whatever they like. It's the developing countries, small developing countries, like in Africa, like in South Asia. They want to, they work so hard and created a baby satellite. They want to shoot it up. They have no space. Okay? So it's a conflict of interests. And America will come say, well, the US will say, well, don't worry, we'll lend you one. Or you can buy one from us. Or we offer you the service, you just pay us. Don't worry, we'll give you a discount. You are, little African countries, I'll be very kind to you. And you're from Africa, you say, no, I want my own satellite up there. Why don't you want to take the kindness from the wonderful, beautiful United States? Why don't you? They say they give you 50% discount. You got all the information, you don't have to work on your satellites which might explode very soon. Why wouldn't you take the offer? Dignity, I'm a little proud African. Anything else? Yes?
Maybe it's for the industry.
For the industry?
Yeah, because the little country need to develop, so they develop their technology. So it's very important for them to have their own satellite.
Exactly. Okay, so the little country will say, I'm trying to learn how to build a satellite. I'm trying to develop my own technology. I might not be very good now, at least I'm trying. And now if I have to depend on you, on your kindness, one day if you decide to raise the payment, firstly, I'm going to repay you back. Secondly, it's an American satellite. It collected data on behalf of America. It's not for me. All the information is for the US. It's not for Senegal. It's not for other countries, right? So actually, I'm just selling my country's data to you. And I'm giving my data for you with a fee. Nobody is that stupid. Okay? So it's not a technical issue because they have the top experts covering this. But they meet together for 2 solid weeks to talk about who is going to shoot what up and when the US and Russia needs to remove how many satellites off the orbits. And of course the discussion was long and lengthy and difficult. Okay? And so it's not a meeting about the difficulty of technical, it's an ideology difficulty. But then when you prepare your note-taking, prepare your listening, you wouldn't cover this field, right? You'll be like, You'll be like, all the time in the meeting. You won't be able to work. Okay? So you know your field, you know yourself, you know your enemy. So what's in store? Meaning in a meeting, what do you look at? You have the context, you have the content, you have yourself to worry about. The context is the arrangement of the conference. The content is, in a conference, it wouldn't be just one person talking, right? How many? Well, there will be quite a few people talking. Okay, so, and you are the interpreter, you work there, and you have something as well. So we put all this in place, and then see how we can tackle them one by one. And hopefully you are not as scared, nervous. Okay? So let's talk about the context. Have a quick brainstorm together. How many of you together? So the 4 of you, would you like to discuss what are the issues to consider with regards to who and where in terms of context? Okay, do you understand my question? When you prepare for a meeting, I'll give you an example that you will be able to follow. Okay, so when you go to a meeting, you need to know what's in the context. Prepare for the context. A context is the situation when the meeting takes place. So they are always direct who, where, when, who, what, da, da, da. Okay? So one thing, let me start with, would be when. And you would think, why do we need to talk about when? You just go when they tell you to go. And you just go home when you finish. Okay? It's not that kind of when. The when is the background of the meeting. When did it take place last time? How many times already? And when this happens, is it in response to any major incidents of the situation at that moment? So for example, if I'm going to a meeting on emergency responses to earthquake, right after the tsunami in Japan, then the when is very important. You will be ready for a lot of presentations, a lot of reports from Japan. Are we okay? So the when becomes important. Okay? So who and where? You deal with who, okay? The group there, you deal with where, okay? And the group at the back, you deal with the why, the context. And that group at the end, you deal with what, the background check, what kind of issues you have to think about to prepare, okay? And the group there with the yellow shirt, yourself, a fluorescent, yeah? The 4 or 5 of you, you talk about the settings and the formats. You try to think about the formats for consecutive, the formats for simultaneous. Are we okay here? I will give you 2 minutes to brainstorm, and then we will get your answers, okay? Let's come back and let's report about who What are the issues you need to ask? You need to figure out. Who? Who are who? No, who is people? Who can't be country? Who is for people? Okay, who is people? So we talk about meeting, yeah? You have people who organize the meeting. Who are they? It's host, yes. Mostly, we have the organizer. Who else in the meeting? The speaker. Anything else? Anyone else in the meeting for you? Attendance. You want to talk about participants. Okay? So you have audience. Attendance, participants. Who else are there? Recorded. Recorder. Technicians. Yeah, they're important, but don't worry about them too much. You have tea ladies as well, cleaners as well. And a lot of people, but trying to think about important people, you need to think. And then their existence or non-existence will impact on your work. Who else? Interpreters. Thank you. Why these people are important? You have the speakers. You have the name of the speaker. It is a Japanese name. You are like, because you think a Japanese speaker speaking English would be very difficult to follow. And you'll be like, half job is done. It's finished for you. But then you Google this person up. You realize this is a person with a Japanese name, but he was born and bred in the US. And he went to school there. He's got a doctorate in microbiology, specializing in reproduction system of insects. You'll be like, wow. You'll be like, okay, I wouldn't worry too much about his English, but you start to worry about what he would say. Because his worry or his focus or his expertise is researching, making babies for insects. That's something very, very narrow. Okay? Or I don't know, fetal fertility for caterpillars. Okay, so it's about baby caterpillars dying for what reasons. Okay, it can be very specific. So if your speakers are like this, then you mentally prepare for this person. The accent wouldn't be a problem, but his knowledge of baby insects or baby caterpillar will be up there. And he's the keynote speaker. And he's going to talk about a specific kind of caterpillar. And they'd be like, okay, we're going to talk about the caterpillar for 2 weeks. So getting the speakers right is very important. And very often you have a lot of information about the speakers on YouTube nowadays. You can Google this person up, you can try to listen to him and say, oh, okay, he sounds okay. Or you say, oh God, I'm going to be dead because he speaks really very fast. Yeah? Or, yeah, he's not very fast, but I don't know what he's talking about. Okay? So, he's not very fast, he sounds very friendly, but I have no idea what he's talking about. That happens all the time. Okay? The reason why you need to know about the organizer is because when the organizer organizes a meeting, they have a clear agenda in mind, clear ideas in mind. They get speakers from various ends to support the meeting point, the meeting objective. So today, if an organizer organize a meeting on anti-gay marriage, yeah, so they want to propose that the marriage belongs to men and women or nobody else. You can't marry a chair. And then they invited a speaker from a church, for example. Then you can easily guess that this speaker from the church protesting against gay marriage will be quoting some references from the Bible. Then you can get yourself ready in that aspect, can you? Okay? But if you work for an organizer which is anti-gay marriage, but yourself is pro-gay marriage and you are you are a strong believer of gay marriage yourself, and working for them will be so painful for you that you don't take the job. Otherwise, you are causing yourself a lot of agony. Okay? Or it's a chauvinism conference, talking about men are better than women. And for me, I would say no to that meeting. I would say, what a nonsense. And then to refrain myself from upsetting my participants, I would say no to that conference. Because you are promoting men as the better sex, and women should be mopping floor at home, which goes against my principle. I would say no. Okay? So these are important issues. The audience is important. Today, if the meeting is organized by the Ministry of Health on the topic of swine virus from Africa to a group of school children, yeah? Would that be important? You will know if the audience are school children. You would be monitoring the Chinese you use. That should be understandable for elementary school children. But it doesn't mean you will be speaking baby languages. I hate people speaking cute to children. 吃饭饭, 洗手手. Okay? It's not about, you wouldn't tell children like 注意手部清洁及餐具消毒. You wouldn't say this to elementary children. You would tell them 记得吃饭前后要洗手，然后碗一定要洗干净。You wouldn't say 吃饭前一定要洗手手哦。People do that. The register, okay? So that's something to pay attention to. And then to know your interpreters are absolutely important. Because you know you are the only interpreter, then you are dead too. You have nobody to work with you. And if you know there are 6 interpreters, including yourself, covering 3 languages, then you can easily guess there will be 2 Chinese interpreters. And then you will say, so how many languages, the 3 languages apart from Chinese, what are the other 2? French and German. So I will know, okay, if I have French and German colleagues, they are bound to take me when I work from Chinese into English. Because they will take my English and turn it into French or German. Yeah? Which means my English will have to be very clear, and I have to finish my sentence, and I have to say something tangible and substantial. I can't say, swine flu is very important, so it is very important. We wash hands and hands are being washed. Yeah, because we have French and German colleagues, they will kill you afterwards. There's nothing for them to continue. Okay? So this determines how you perform on the day. How about where? Okay?
第一个是以前的地点，就是历届举办的地点，然后可以延伸出的是，那个举办 些国家或是哪些地方。然后第3点是与会者来自哪里。
Okay.
然后会议内容的背景地点和与会者来自哪里可以结合成与会者和会议内容的地缘关系。
Okay. Thank you. They're very thorough. Okay. Actually, well, I think that covers most of the points I would like to raise. Or the other thing is that where is often, as you say, the significance of that meeting. For example, you know Kyoto Protocol is named because the protocol was signed in Kyoto. Yeah, 京都议定书. And then so many years after, they have Paris Agreement. Paris is important. And when they have a side meeting in Paris in the same year, then that means something as well. Are we okay here? So the where, the location is quite important. Okay? And then it also determines how you get ready for that trip, for that meeting. Okay, thank you. When? Last, the group, talking about when?
Why?
Oh, why? Sorry, I explained when. Why?
因为小资旅游在是大众很深受大众喜爱的一个主题，然后就是因为经济不景气，所以很多民众不想要接受旅行社他们就是比较昂贵的团费，所以会去另外去寻求比较便宜的旅游行程。那如果从旅行社就是办小资旅游的旅行社来讲的话，因为这是小资旅游是一个趋势，所以他们可以吸引到更多客群。还有就是社群媒体这部分，因为现在人很喜欢拍照，然后上传跟朋友分享，所以像在旅游的部分的话，大家喜欢到旅游的地点，然后拍照，然后跟大家炫耀。
Okay, thank you. And then you gave us some examples on the topic of your final performances, okay, on budget travel. So here I'm talking about a context of a meeting in general. To know why it's important. As important as to know the organizer. If this is, as I said, if this is the 85th conference on one specific topic, then it means the issues they dealt with weren't dealt with in the previous 84 meetings. So are they so stupid? Or is it because those meetings are continuing to evolve and there are more and more issues to deal with? It also means that those issues got historic backgrounds as well. Okay? And then, for example, your budget travel meeting, the why, what would be the why? Why do you need to get together to talk about budget travel? So you gave us some reasons. They are just the background ideas. But it can be a group of travel agencies get together to promote the business of budget travel. So they want to say all the good things about budget travel. But today, if the budget travel conference is organized by the police, for example, by the police department, then their agenda will be completely different from the travel agencies, right? Because the purpose is different. Are we okay? So if a police department organizes a conference on budget travel, what would they be talking about? They'll be talking about the safety, the disturbance, the situation facing budget travelers, and also perhaps disturbance to the local communities. Yeah? Or because there are so many people walking around not following the social rules there, and then causing a lot of upset. Possibly, yeah? Or 大妈不排队. Yeah, or jumping the queue, or I don't know, destroying sites. That would be different take altogether. Are we okay here? That's why I think why is absolutely important, why the meeting should be held. Because it determines what kind of discussion the speakers will have. And also decides what audience you would attract. So if the meeting is organized by the travel agency, you are bound to attract a lot of young people. If it is by the police station or a department, you will attract a lot of scholars and perhaps parents. Because at home you have teenage children wanting to go budget travel. And you want to argue with them that, well, actually it's very dangerous, for example. Yeah, are we okay here? Now, how about what?
Because the topics depends on the speakers, so it's important to know the background of the speaker and also the meaning or definition of that topic.
Okay, again, we are still in the context. Because later when we talk about the content, it will be individual speeches. You have to deal with different why and different what. Okay, so let's use the budget travel as an example. If again, organized by the police department, the what is to remind people the danger or risk involved in budget travel. Are we okay here? Or if it is organized by the Tourism Bureau in Taiwan, then we're trying to promote Taiwan as a destination. Are we okay? So it decides the tone of the discussion. Okay? How? Setting, people?
So it's more like more detail of where it should be held. So is it more like around the center of the city, like where to choose, or how many people? Is it confidential or is it open to public? And also about like, is it hot where the meeting is held, or is it too cold where the meeting is held? And
Okay.
also the detail equipment, painters, chairs, table, microphones, screens, camera.
Okay, you are very thorough. You can be an organizer of a meeting. Okay, I'm thinking about something bigger. A setting means it's not just about it's in a city, in a country. I'm thinking more about, is this in the meeting room? If it is in the meeting room, it means that I have to dress properly. If all the delegates are experts and politicians, I couldn't be wearing my sandals. If today we are going to visit a lot of pig farmers, pig, you know pig? Pig farmers, you would think, what kind of jobs do you do? I do a lot of jobs. I visited pig farmers with a delegation to check on the sanitation and the welfare of pigs. So my high heels won't work. Yeah? So it's in a wide open space. And then I'll have to ask them, so how many people do I work for? They will say, a few. Can you whisper to them? I said, how many is few? I'm thinking a few, whisper, 3, that's few for me. I said, it's about 55. How can I whisper so loudly that 55 people can hear me? Are we okay here? So you prepare, okay, the setting, and then what kind of jobs can you do? And it includes, for example, you are doing consecutive, you ask them, do I have a table? Why? Why do you need a table? Because I have to take note. Oh, no table. Oh, okay, do you have a hand-free microphone? No. And then say, why do you need a hand-free microphone? If I have to hold the microphone and take notes without table, somebody's holding the note for me? No. Only 2 hands. Okay? So do I have a place to sit or do I stand? You ask those questions. Sometimes those questions are answered beforehand. Sometimes they got changed last minute. So they would say, you arrived. I say, okay, where should I work? And they say, 不好意思，就是忘记安排场地。You got an interpreter, you 忘记安排场地。And then they say, do you mind working behind the curtain? I say, why? Oh, because you have more space there. I say, no, because it won't work. It will sound like a haunted house. You hide me, the important me, behind the red curtain. You only want my voice. I'm not going to give it to you. I will tell them I need to have communication with the speaker. You can't hide me behind the curtain. Okay, so that's the second I'm thinking about. Okay? Or is it a press conference? A press conference involves a Q&A. Is it negotiation? Is it closed-door negotiation? Don't get too excited. Don't think closed-door negotiation is about your performance not known to the public. No, it's about they are closing door for negotiation on very top confidential issues. So they want your interpreting to be absolutely accurate and very effective. So it means that you are not allowed to make many mistakes at all. Okay, so they need to close door. Well, that again, if they tell you, oh, it's closed door, then you think and prepare differently. Are we okay? Formats for simultaneous, what do you need to worry about?
We need to know the speakers, their language, what the language they speak, and our colleague who we work with. So the language and the colleague is very important, and also we need to know the participants, like who will come, and how many participants will come, and that we know how we need to do our job.
I don't think we have to worry about how many people will come so much, because we don't have to shout. We have microphone.
Okay, and the other thing we think about is the way they process the conference. Like it's only a speech, or they come with the discussion that we need to.
Okay.
And other things is the schedule, the agenda, like the timing. We need to know what is the agenda of the conference.
Okay, thank you. Now this is very informative. There's a lot of ideas going on. Yes, that's fine. And how consecutive? We'll do it together. Anything specific, or have I covered it all for you? Say it again. What do they write then? Oh, okay. Speech notes. Yeah. The language direction is important. Sometimes you only work into one direction. Okay? Right, that's good. So we got simultaneous and consecutive here. It's a very crude classification. One we're thinking about consecutive or simultaneous is the variance of those formats sometimes appear. So when they tell you it's simultaneous interpreting, but it has no booth, 你就烦啊. Or, for example, the booth is like this, which is quite ridiculous. It has no roof. So it's like a hide-and-seek corner, rather than a real functional booth. And that will cause a lot of disturbance in meetings. Or in consecutive interpreting, sometimes they will say, 你随便翻翻就好，你翻快一点。Okay, you spend 25,000 hiring me for one morning, and then you want me 随便翻翻就好。 Are you going to say yes or are you going to say no? Are you going to say yes or going to say no? Yeah? 25,000 for one morning. You come for half an hour. But just do and 随便翻翻就好. We're pressed for time. Do you take it or not? Okay? It depends on what they promise, what they plan, and what they promise. Sometimes it says 随便翻翻就好. And then, but actually, you have to do A and B and C and D and call the taxi for the speaker. And where can he get a 便当? And he wants to buy 太阳饼. You understand what I'm saying? If I know I have to buy 太阳饼, that's okay. I don't mind buying 太阳饼 at 25,000. That's fine. But then it needs to be informed. Okay? Or they will say, oh, PR interpreter, but can you make sure you take his mama to shop? Okay? So this kind of obligations are important. I'm not saying you prepare for taking a mama to shop. It's a preparation. But you know what's coming at you, so that when that happens, you won't get upset and you won't get disturbed. And you can still focus on your job. Okay? So this is just the context. You have to worry so much already. And the content are many too. I will go through this. The content is about individual speakers and speeches. You have the background. You have the subject matters. You need to have meeting agenda, current discussion and terminology. Okay? So why do people need terminology? What's terminology? The last one, terminology. Okay, what's terminology is for who will be using terminology? Experts? Jargons. Yeah. What kind of jargons can you think of? Okay, so it might be related to that specific field. So for example, a terminology like CO2. So you have 二氧化碳, you have carbon dioxide. You can have a Chinese engineer whose English is really bad. He can't pronounce carbon dioxide, for example. But he recognized CO2. You know Gogoro. Gogoro, the scooter, the electric motorcycle. Gogoro. Gogoro is a term as well. So you wouldn't say it's a kind of scooter which is powered by electric and it's quite cute but very expensive. When you mention Gogoro, you don't have to do that explanation. When you say Gogoro, you know what's going on. When I say Tesla, you're so funny. When I say Tesla, you say Tesla. And when I say Marilyn Monroe, you say 玛丽莲梦露. No, so for example, Tesla or Marilyn Monroe, they are names, but they are terms as well. It triggers certain ideas. So you wouldn't say, there's a beautiful woman with blonde hair and very curvy figure, and then who's the sexy idol in early 70s, 80s, and she dies young. It's like playing charade. But if you want to talk about a sexy icon like Marilyn Monroe, the image pops up. Are we okay? So the terms like that, names, proper names, or the Queen. Yeah? The Queen in Britain. Again, that's a term. You wouldn't say the old lady wearing a crown. So a lot of old ladies wearing a crown anyway. Okay? So terminology helps you communicate better. And some terminologies also help you prepare better. So if your meetings happen to be about Gogoro or Tesla and clean energy, then you prepare accordingly. You know some issues will be dealt with and debated about. fossil fuel, yeah, gas, oil, alternative resources, transport, flight, exactly, everything. And if I want to connect, for example, Gogoro and your budget airline, how are you going to connect these two together? Now you're dead. Okay, so your task now is to give me a minute speech to connect Gogoro and budget airline, like Peach Airline. Yeah, do you know Peach Airline? So Gogoro and Peach Airline, and very soon you're going to give me a tiny speech about the two. And your speech will have to be about 2 minutes long. In Chinese.
然后都是外形，不管是外形啊，还是就是会利用这些工具的行为，都是属于比较年轻人会做的。然后再加上近期我刚刚查到一个新闻，是近期 Gogoro 也被引进到日本去了，所以就是在日本的话，可以达到乐堂航空也可以利用 Gogoro 这样。
还有就是两个产业的一些合作，主要是日本的公司跟台湾的公司，他们就是在未来可能会有什么样的关系，或者是怎么样合作？对。
Okay, the relationship is really far-reach because what you said just now have aroused some reaction. You say Leutao Hangkong and Gogoro are both very affordable, but I think the biggest criticism of Gogoro is being quite expensive. So that logic is not working. Well, it doesn't work as well. Okay, how about the next group? Come on, what's your statement?
It's a story about a person who is very poor, who doesn't have a lot of money, but he wants to dedicate himself to saving the world because he is an environmentalist. He wants to buy the Gogoro to reduce the emission of carbon dioxide. So but the Gogoro is too expensive, so he has no choice but to buy a Gogoro. But after he bought the Gogoro, he just have only $1,000 left, so he can only go to another country by buying a budget airline ticket. So he just buy the budget airline tickets from the original country to another country. He also think that the budget airline company need to use the electricity as the power to make the airplane fly. So yeah, it's my story.
So you're the very poor person. Okay, right, that was an interesting connection. You're almost there. What I'm trying to think is, this is not a little school games by connecting weird things together. I'm using this to really promote to encourage you to reason and how to see relationship between two items and two concepts, which hopefully will prepare you for new ideas come through. You can react better. Okay, but that was a good attempt. Thank you. And how about the other group? What's your version?
在每个月的月底，年轻人所可以用的闲钱不多，那可是又想要有品质的生活， 那所以 Gogoro 它有着地方跟中央政府的补助，可以让你用便宜的价格买到一台车，那它也可以让你畅游台湾。那相对的，你想要出国旅游又没有钱怎么办呢？那就只能搭乐桃航空。乐桃航空有便宜的机票，但是很多服务都需要自己加价。但是小资旅游就是只要想办法到那边去就好了，然后并不太注重品质，所以这两者是年轻人时尚的新宠物。
Thank you. You're getting there. I've never heard people talking about things as 宠物。新宠物。Crazy Friday? Oh, they say 宠物。新宠 I know 新宠 is understandable. 新宠物 is a new pet. Okay, thank you. I can almost see the connection there. How about with the other group, the next group?
Gogoro 和乐桃航空，首先他们都是交通工具，然后他们的客群都会比较偏向年轻人，因为他们的设计会比较现代化。然后在环保如果从环保的角度去看的话，其实两者都非常环保，因为一个是用再生能源来驱动，然后另一个的话，它是同时可以运输大量的人到一个地点，然后他们就是你可以选择用就是选择他们其中一个来旅游，然后只是他们速度有快慢和可以去的地点远或近的分别这样，然后 Gogoro 的话会比较高价，然后乐桃航空会比较廉价，低价对不起。对。
Okay, now they're trying to make a comparison between Gogoro and Leta Hong Kong. Yeah? Is that what you're trying to do? Have you figured out a topic sentence or a thesis statement to connect these two together? Do you understand my question?
是以年轻人为客群的交通工具。
Okay, fine. How? That's okay. How about you? Your group?
我们认为就是可以，就是他们两个都是交通工具，然后 Gogoro 又是比较，现在就是电动的比较环保，所以我们认为就是可以结合观光产业，就是可能搭这个乐桃航空，然后 Gogoro， 而且 Gogoro 最近也引进日本，然后可以让旅客们用 Gogoro 在日本各地代步，然后一方面来也是让台湾产业有商机，另外一方面也是不会污染到，就是不会排放一些不好的毒气或是碳排放量，减少碳排放量和没有不好的毒气排放到当地，然后就是有一种交通套票的感觉，就是都帮你设计好了。
Okay, now you're promoting a business strategy for the airline or for Gogoro. Okay, so you can try to sell it that way. That's fine. Okay, so this is something you can do quite often to really encourage yourself to relate to really random things together and see if you can make sense of them. If I would have to do this task myself, I will probably come up with something rather different. I would say young people nowadays are faced with a lot of difficult choices. They want independence, they love to explore, so going abroad has to be an option on the table, but they don't have a lot to go for. So budget airlines are there, like the Peach Airlines, are there to travel, for young people to travel from one place to another with a very affordable price, but a very high cost on the environment. On the other hand, young people like to travel freely with environmental consciousness as well. So many like the choices of Gogoro, the new kind of electric motorbike. But on the other hand, quality does come with a price tag, and Gogoro happens to be quite expensive. So I'm sure a lot of young people today are facing the dilemma to whether go for things they can afford or to look after the environment at the same time. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I don't need to think of a strategy or some business, 还来抽奖送买 A 送 B. I'm trying to think, so my joint statement for Gogoro and Peach Airline is not quality never comes cheap. If you want to look at quality, it always comes with a price. And quality versus price is the dilemma for young people. If you choose quality, then it's expensive. If you want the convenience, then you are impacting the environment. Are we okay here? So you don't need to always have a grand solution for everything. But you should allow some sentence structure in your system that will help you express dilemma, pros and cons, advantages versus disadvantages at the same time without losing your cool. Okay? At the moment, you're always looking for a definite answer to one thing. But actually, there's no one definite answer for everything. Are we okay? Okay. So this is just an exercise to relate something together. So we're looking for the missing piece. At first we thought the missing piece might be just part of it. But actually sometimes you think you have a missing chunk. The whole piece is so big. Okay? You think you're missing something, but actually a lot of things are missing. Then quite often it's the knowledge not there. Okay? And this is our brain, which works very busy all the time, non-stop. I've proposed the following strategies for your preparation. Think about it and see if that will work for you. You don't have to take it for granted. You can try it out and see if it works. The first strategy is if you know your speaker, you can talk like a speaker, then the speaker won't fright you. Yeah? So, one thing, if I were you for your conference at the end of the semester, I will figure out who the speakers will be. His backgrounds. What is he doing for life? Is he selling his services? Is he promoting budget airlines or budget travel? Or has he come up with different ideas, different angles? Then his speech will definitely go through that line. Is that normal? It wouldn't be a person trying to teach young people how to do budget travel, but to tell you it's dangerous, bad, it's costing money, and you become stupid. They wouldn't tell you this. Everything he said will be promoting budget travel. Are you okay here? Okay, so think and talk like a speaker. Secondly, build associations. Mind mapping. Have you seen a mind map before? Get a lot of ideas and try to draw the relations in between. The ideas sometimes are big concepts. Sometimes they are words, like Gogoro, Airbnb, Peach Airline. How do you draw association? So if today I give you Airbnb and Uber, yeah? Airbnb and Uber, what do they have in common? Maybe not legal. Maybe not legal, favored by young people. Anything else? Say it again? Okay, that's a buzzword. Look for it. Shared economy. Okay? And it's a trend. You have Uber, you have Airbnb, It's about people utilizing the resources they have and try to make the best of them. But at the same time, it's got a lot of downsides. It's probably not legalized. And when it's not legalized, there will be space for manipulation and possibly risks. Are we okay here? So this is about building mind mapping and try to think big. And some words to count. It's about the terms you can have. Yeah? So put yourself in the speaker's shoes. Normally you wear your trainers. If you are going to be an interpreter, you have to act like a speaker. So you don't have your sport shoes. It means that basically pretending yourself to be the speaker and what kind of issues you would like to address and how are they going to describe those. They might be use a lot of buzzwords to make themselves sound more professional, yeah, or more fluent, or more 厉害. Then as the interpreter, you can't make him less 厉害. You have to sound as 厉害 as well. Are we okay? And the mind mapping here is the same. You got a lot of ideas how to connect them all together in your head. This old man is Leonardo da Vinci. I don't think you're going to be like him at all. But try to connect what you have in your head and then add new things. When you add new things without any basis, it's really hard. But if you know Gogoro already, it's easy for me to tell you about Tesla. Are we okay here? Or it's not difficult for me to explain to you new kind of hydrogen bus. Are we okay? You will be scared by the word hydrogen. But I say it's related to Gogoro. Then you know I'm talking about some environmental friendly bus. Then you wouldn't be so scared. Okay? And you use the right words for better communication. This is something I want to play with you. Know your words. Turn-led preparation. I randomly put a few words together to make the word cloud here. If from here you are asked to make association of any random term, can you do it? Okay? So for example, do you know what's animal selfies? No? To take selfies with animals. Okay? Who will be doing this? Who will be taking selfies with animals? And what are the problems? Or what's the fun? Tourists, yeah? And why would tourists do that, taking selfies with animals? They think it's a rare experience. They like to take photos of themselves and putting their head inside a big mouth of a hippo, and then post the photos in the Instagram. After the photo is posted, his head is bitten off. Are we okay here? So you know this, and how this is going to be connected with budget travel. Are we okay? And sometimes people save on travel, budget travel, but they live in luxurious hotels. Does that happen? Okay? And then what's staycation? Did you see the word? What's staycation? So for example, this word is new to you. You'll look it up. You'll see how it is used and what are the people using them. Okay? So what's responsible travel? Millennial travel? Expert-led? Couch surfing? What's that? Couch surfing? Okay, sometimes some people be living or staying at a stranger's living room. Yeah? Either for free or for, I don't know, some experience exchange. And then how about the risks or the fun side? And how is this arranged? Okay, so all this are, again, something you put it together and you prepare. Okay? Now, I was reminded by your tutor that budget travel is important for you. And this again, I use a very simple, common sense approach to ask yourself different questions and try to answer those questions. You will be covered and you will be taking photos of my PowerPoint without asking me. That's an infringement of copyright. Okay, I'm teasing you. It's not rocket science. So, what you do here, for example, I ask all the simple questions, right? What, why, how, where, who. Let's take who, for example. I put down ages, social backgrounds, motivations. Can you think of people who either enjoy or disagree with budget travel? What kind of category, what kind of population would that be? Say if you have a working class father with limited income, would he be interested in budget travel? Perhaps he probably would want to save up some money to take his young children to Disney in Hong Kong and buy a 5,000 ticket to Hong Kong. Does it make sense? Because the father will say, I don't have a lot of money, but I want to give my children some nice experiences. That happens, right? How about a grandmother, middle class, with enough money, who doesn't like to walk around too much, but she really likes to take photos with his friends in different sites. Yeah? They like to stay in nice hotels and go and see many sites as quickly as possible. Do you think grandmothers will be useful or interested in budget travel? Why not? Okay, or anything else? Yeah. Okay, it can be challenged. Well, probably some grandmothers like the idea. I want to go traveling with my grandchildren one day, but really I can't walk that fast. I can't walk very well, and it's difficult for me mentally. I don't like to stay in different places all the time. Oh, I have to share the bathroom. Don't like it. Okay, but I quite like the idea of traveling with my family, possibly. Okay, so the motivation of budget travel, is it always about money? If it is not about money, do you still call it budget travel? Do you understand what I'm saying? If it is not about money, then what are you looking after? What are you looking for? You travel alone. Yeah? So there are many things you can explore only under the category of who. Then you have a lot of questions to ask and to prepare. And you can prepare the age group, the percentage, the rise of the group, in terms of population, and who will be spending how much on budget travel, and the expansion of the market, for example. Okay? Or you can talk about how. When I say arrange means arrangements of all aspects. You think about food, travel, accommodation. When you do budget travel, how do you arrange those issues? What are the downsides? What are the benefits? What's the trend? Can you always trust Skyscanner? Do you use Skyscanner? Do you use Agoda or Hotel.com? Do you understand what I'm saying? Can we trust all these online sites? Are they stealing too much of our information? Because we travel with them once, next time, in 3 months' time, they remind us to go to Hong Kong again. Yeah? Or if you don't want to go to Hong Kong, go to Korea. And they are bombarding us with a lot of advertisement. So it's the marketing going in. And sometimes probably we don't want it. Are we okay here? So I leave you with this slide for you to think about how you can prepare your talk. Actually, it won't be that difficult. It won't be that difficult. It's a very specific area. And then when you say you want to prepare, you want to practice your note or listening, that's the basics you need to have. Okay? And of course, I know you are still learning. A lot of skills are still new to you. You just have to practice with friends or on your own. If your listening is not good enough, then you haven't listened enough. Or your vocabulary is not ready yet. So you wouldn't be recognized when people say something. You say, huh? Okay? And when you're talking about traveling, destinations, how many destinations can you name on top of your head without thinking? When they talk to you about Cairo, do you know where it is? It's not Egypt. It's Egypt. Okay? And then what languages do people speak in Egypt?
Arabic.
Very good, you are well prepared. Okay? So all the sites and all the activities. For example, if you are jumping from a bridge in New Zealand, what kind of game do they call it? Thank you very much. If you are jumping out of a plane with a parachute, skydiving. You wouldn't say you jump out of a plane. Are we okay? So different activities. You have ski, you have snowboarding. All these are terms that you know and you can use them well. Okay? So it's not difficult. The difficulty is in your head. If you are nervous and you tell yourself you can't do it, I promise you that you can't do it. But if you think, well, actually I can handle this, you'll be okay. Okay? So good luck with it, and hopefully you will meet somewhere again in the future.